Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to what will be my very first YouTube video. This will about myself. My name is Chidi, and I am a chess coach. I have been a chess coach for 2 years now, and just recently I've started playing OTB tournaments because when I moved to my city here, there wasn't any tournaments basically, and that's like the exact same time that I started getting into chess, like proper into chess. I think around that time in 2019, I was rated around 1100 or something, and then I shot all the way up to like 2000s, and that's where I'm at like now on online rating. So my goal for this series is basically going to post every single game that I play until I reach the title of National Master. So that's going to be my goal. So what I've got today is my very first game that I've played OTB in my life, like proper classical tournament games. And so it's the second round, and it's the second round because in the first round of the tournament I got a bye, which was kind of disappointing because I was like super hyped to play, and then I get there and like, oh, you're not playing today. I was like, oh, okay. So that happened, which was unfortunate. But anyways, the second round was against a uh, someone who I've never played against before and I've never seen in my life. He kind of looked like Jesse Eisenberg from Now You See Me, but like the teenage version. So he had that resemblance, and so we get into this game, and I have the white pieces in this game, and we play my normal and typical knight f3. This is what I tend to play as white, and he replies with knight f6. Okay, and I just continue with g3, which is my main plan. d5 doesn't bother me, so continue my plan. Bishop g2 and bishop f5. So he's playing a reverse London. Basically, the plan for him is to play something like e6, c6, knight bd7, and basically have the same position you'd have as white with the London, except you have it with the black pieces. Um, what I can say about this is the London is a solid opening for sure, but when you play it with black, you're playing it down the tempo, so that's a huge factor, and that was the first thing on my mind. And so I can't take advantage of anything yet, so I just continue developing. I play castle, he plays e6, and I play c4. The idea of c4 is basically to play this like a Catalan, and if he ever opens up the long diagonal for me, which would be the a8 h1 diagonal, then this would be a very powerful bishop, and this was my goal. He's not going to do that though, and he just develops. He plays c6 naturally, and I go d4 here. Recently I've changed this up, and now started getting into some d3 lines and something a bit more uh, challenging to the center. But in this game, which is my very first game, I played d4. He goes bishop b7, which is natural, and this is really where white has to make a big decision. What's going to be the strategy towards this game? And the strategy that I opted for is queen b3. So since the bishop has left c8 and is no longer controlling the b7 square, I play queen to b3 with the idea of attacking the pawn simply, and after queen to b6 defending, my idea is to push. Now if he goes back to c7, that's a waste of time because I can play bishop f4 and develop a piece with tempo, and that will be a very nice piece, and he's gonna have to go queen c8 so that he can defend the b7 square, and that could be a bit of a misplacement of the queen in my opinion. So I think that the best move here is just to take. The engine confirms it. The best move is queen takes b3, a takes b3. And I'm doubling my pawns here voluntarily. I'm doubling them up because what I want to do is I want to play along the queen side, and I want to push this pawn all the way to b5 if possible. So something like, okay, h6, knight here, castles, b4, And then if you play something like knight bd7, I can maybe immediately push this. And the points of this b5 push is basically to say that, okay, strategically, I've made some improvements. I have undoubled my pawn, which is doubled. I've opened up my rook, so this is now a threat. So it's kind of very pleasant for white, I'd say. It's a very simple plan. It's super solid, and if they take it, then I can already take with knight b5. And it's notice that it's very hard to control both these files for black. First of all, because I have two pieces hitting the a7 pawn. Second of all, because I have very clear access to bishop f4, which will poke at the b8 rook if it does go to b8. So that's my idea, basically. This is what I was aiming for in the game. And after c5, he plays a weird move, which I've never faced before, queen a6. If I could... Yeah, queen a6. Okay. This was really, really unexpected. And I thought immediately that this must be a mistake. I must be much better because it's not theoretical. It doesn't really make a ton of sense. You do defend b7, but your queen is completely misplaced. Like, how does the queen ever do anything on the king side? Or how does the queen get back to the center? It's stuck to a defensive role on a6, and to get out, it takes like at least two tempi, like queen a5, queen c7, so that's going to be a pain for him. So how do I try and take advantage of this? Well, first of all, my pawn on e is hanging, so I play knight c3, knight bd7, and since I knew the queen was misplaced, I go for a more aggressive plan, and it's the best engine move, the top engine move. It is knight h4. What's the idea behind this move? The idea is that he's going to lose his light square bishop, and remember I said that this bishop is super powerful. Well, it could be if the position opens up, like this diagonal, but it's also a very powerful bishop if there's no counterpart to it. So if he loses his light square bishop, that gives me a ton of control over the light squares. So this was my idea, to capture the light square bishop, trade off my knight on f3, open up my bishop, and capture his bishop. And if he plays something like bishop to g6, I just trade off for my knight. If he goes bishop here, then I'm pretty sure I can actually go... Well, Narayan is saying my idea wasn't very good, but my idea was basically to play f3, then bishop would have to go to g6 anyways, and then I can take, and then I can break open with e4, which is my idea. But this is -1 for black, because he has e5. So e5, followed by e takes d5. Yeah, I can see this getting a bit messy, so maybe this was a bit preemptive on my part, but knight h4, he plays bishop g4, and I was happy with this move. Bishop g4 is a move that I wasn't threatened by at all. It hits my pawn, but again, I don't think he can capture my pawn. If he captures on e2, then that's the bishop pair. I've got the light square bishop I wanted, and his queen is stuck on e2. I've got ideas like bishop e3, trying to trap the queen, stuff like that. So after h3, he goes bishop h5 correctly. I go g4, really trying to capture this bishop, and this is where he plays a move which opens up a critical position. So he plays knight e4. What's the idea of knight e4? Basically, he's opened up his bishop, and now he attacks my knight. And so if I take him, he takes me. But the difference what's going on also is that this knight isn't well protected. It's not well protected because there's one piece defending it, which is the pawn, the d5 pawn, and I have two pieces attacking the e4 square. So technically I can win the pawn if I play it correctly. And I noticed this. I got really excited at this point. I was like, okay, I have to be better. This must be good for me. This is where I start proving the rating difference because my rating was I was unrated, but my opponent was a solid 1700. And then so I play knight e4. Now why knight takes e4? My idea was basically after he takes on e4, I'm not gonna take his bishop. I'm gonna take with the bishop on e4, winning a pawn. If he takes me on h4, then I take him. If he plays bishop g6, I take with the knight, and then that's really good for me. But why did I play bishop takes e4 first? Because I thought that this was a very nice inclusion. Bishop to d3. And then I misplaced the queen. And this was a move that maintains advantage. I have plus 1.5, so it's clearly better for me. He has to go queen a5. It's the only move in the position. Mind you that b5 doesn't work because I take en passant, and then that's transposing to a winning endgame. And then after the queen moves, I now have to recapture the bishop. So all of this was really scary to me because it's my first OTB game and I'm completely opening up my king. My king is just naked and the g-file is completely opened up for my king, so I was really scared of him queenside castling and attacking my king, but unfortunately he queenside castles immediately, which is a mistake. The better move for him would be to play queen c7 because the queen was misplaced on a5. It doesn't even protect b7 on a5, and so queen c7 is just a move that protects b7 once again, brings the queen to some new attacking possibilities on the queen side. But even if this happened, I was really happy because I planned this out super well. So all of this was calculated with the idea that after queen c7, he wouldn't be able to use any of these dark squares. Notice that the queen can't be placed on any of these squares. So even though the queen has made one of the two steps to get into an attack, there isn't really a way that the queen can actually make it to my king. So that's what I noticed. And he plays queenside castle, and for some reason I forget about this and I miss the key move that retains the biggest advantage here. So if I had found this move, it would be plus 2.7 for white. And by not finding this move, it would be somewhere around 1.2, 1.3 at best. So this was a big chance I missed. If you want, you can pause the video and try and find the move here. I'll give you a few seconds to pause. Okay, so if you pause the video and you think you found it, the move I am talking about is bishop f4. Bishop f4, because now the queen is in fact trapped and can't make it to the king side at all. The queen has been permanently fixed on the queen side, and there's not really any goals for the queen there. It's just a very sad piece in my opinion, and I've got all the play because I want to play on the queen side. Since he's castled queen side, I want to push my pawns on the queen side, something like queen c4, b4, b5, and then even then I think the queen's trapped. Maybe with like queen c4, let's just say he makes a random move, and then I play b4, queen a4, bishop c2, queen a3. Not immediately trapped, but it looks very potentially trapping for him, for me. So I think this was really good. And the line would continue with bishop f4, e5, d takes e5, knight takes c5, and this is also something that discouraged me, this knight c5 move. But then I have the great move here, bishop f5 check. King has to walk into a square which I can threaten a discovered check, so this would have been super nice. And then not pushing immediately would be best. The killer blow here would be queen c4. And then I've got every single idea I've ever wanted. I've got the idea of attacking the bishop, which is hanging on h4. I've got b4 with a fork. I've got the e6 push with check. And I'm potentially queening. I can capture on f7 and have a protected pass pawn. And so this would have been great. This would be +3 for me. Unfortunately, what happened in the game was super unfortunate because, like I said, I've never played OTB before, and so the time control was 2 hours each side, and it was on an analog clock, and you can call it what you want. You can say it's this damn generation, but for some reason I forgot how to read an analog clock, and I thought that the time was 2 hours for like one rotation of the hand, but obviously it's not. Like I was so focused on chess, I forgot how to be a proper human being, and I thought that I had just a few minutes left, so I blitzed out my next moves. I played Queen C2 because I thought I had like 15 minutes left against his like 40 minutes. He definitely wasn't thinking that much. He was playing super fast. So Queen C2 with the idea of B4, B5. Um, so Queen C2 isn't the second best engine move. The second best engine move would be to play Queen to C4. So Queen C4, just with the idea that after one sec. So yeah, Queen C4. And the idea is that, like I mentioned, the bishop on H4 is hanging. And so if I can play D5 with a discovered attack, that's going to be very nice, and he has to deal with that. So G5 here is forced for him. And after G5, I can play my B4 ideas, so something like B4, Queen, C7, and then I've got my attack going here on the queen side. I can play with like A4, B5, develop my bishop, bring the other rook to the queen side, and push. I definitely feel like I'm breaking through first. B5 comes immediately, and that's the contact point I've already reached. So this looked very nice for me. If he allows me to take, like if he takes with B, then I've got like Queen A6 check ideas. So Queen A6, Queen B7, Queen A3, followed by Bishop A6, Rook B1. It looked very nice for me. Unfortunately, I played Queen C2 with the same idea of pushing. Keep in mind you can't take the pawn. So let's just say he plays a nothing move, and then I play B4. You can't take the pawn because there would be Rook B1, followed by maybe sacrifices and Bishop A6 ideas. So that was going through my mind. He plays G5 here. And when he plays G5, I noticed that I missed the chance to play Queen C4. And then this really got me tilted because I thought, okay, I missed my best chance, and now it's going to be a bit tough for me to play. I play B4 anyway. I think this was the better option. And I was also under time pressure here, so this was very annoying for me. He plays Queen C7, only move here to not hang the queen. B5 straight away. Apparently B5 wasn't the best move. I looked at this briefly with Leela Chess, which I'm looking at the game now with, and the engine recommends D5, completely busting open every single file, which makes a ton of sense because I need to develop my bishop, my dark square bishop, and it only makes sense to play bishop b2 with a tempo on the rook. And if I open up the files in the center, then that's going to be very good for me. If you play c takes here, that's a mistake because I play bishop b2, hitting the rook, f6 defending, rook ac1, king has to move just to be a bit safe, c6 pushing, b takes, queen takes, rook takes, and this is where I would give up a pawn. So I give back the extra pawn I have, but the position is extremely good for me. And it's extremely good because his bishop is on h4, completely stuck. That bishop is definitely stuck, and I have threats of rook takes c6. I still have some attacking chances on the queen side. Rook b1, pushing the pawns, and it's not really clear how he can develop his pieces. So rook would be necessary, but then I already have like, what would I have? Rook b6 doesn't look that good anymore, but I could double up. There are some ideas. I think this would be preferable. engine says +3 here, so I will definitely find some good continuations on an OTB game. If you play e takes after d5, bishop f5 comes very strongly, and the king has to move. Bishop develops again, and it's the same story more or less, but both bishops are now active. I've successfully developed my pieces, and yeah, it looks very good for white. I play b5, which also looked good to me. Like, why not break open the king? Like, I've reached the contact point here, and I'm gonna open up some files, maybe the b file. And he plays knight b8. Knight b8 definitely isn't the right way to go about this. I think the way to go about it would be just to, since you have to move the knight, knight f6 makes more sense, and then try and capture this pawn on h5. Maybe a bit slow, but also I don't have anything immediate because I'm not well developed. My bishop needs to develop, my rooks need to develop, so there would be some chances, and after knight takes h5 stuff, there would be knight to f4 maybe, hitting my bishop. Could be annoying. Maybe b6 would be an idea for me here, and after a takes, c takes, queen takes, rook b1, queen c7, and some attacking chances, for sure. Anyway, knight b8 is played on the board, and I was really happy about this. So even though I was in serious time pressure, I thought, now's my time to attack. I'm just going to play the most obvious threat I can find, which was queen a4, hitting the a7 pawn, but unfortunately for me, it's moving a piece which was already developed. It doesn't make much sense. It loses a bit of the initiative because I really had to develop my pieces. The key move here for me would be definitely e3. And the idea of e3 is that I want to develop my dark square bishop without giving him queen f4. So this maintains the idea of controlling every single square that the queen could infiltrate on, and then bishop b2 would come strong, and he can't ever take me on b5. That much is obvious. If he does take me, then bishop takes, knight c6, rook b1, f5, queen a4 now would come, and I'm threatening to take the knight, take the pawn. He can't push a6 because I still take on c6. Yeah, and if queen takes, again, it's that situation where I queen trade and my position is way superior. So queen a4 is definitely a miss by me. Rook d g8 is played. I play b takes, knight takes. I can't tell you why I played why I played b takes. Maybe queen a7 wasn't appetizing enough for me. Yeah, okay, so queen a7, queen takes a7, I was worried about g4 ideas. He's gonna have the initiative then, and that's gonna be difficult to deal with for sure. Maybe it's equal, maybe it's even losing. So what I play is takes, knight takes, d5. So I missed the idea of d5. It came a bit too late. E takes, and the problem with this is that I missed the move, which was bishop b2. I played bishop f5 immediately, and the problem with bishop b5 immediately is that after the king moves, which the king does move, I don't have a bishop on the long diagonal here to play ideas like bishop e5, pinning queen and king. So my attack was definitely not there. The whole game I've definitely got two pieces playing, just two pieces, just the bishop and just the queen. So this was definitely not good for me. And here I play a big mistake. I play e3, and the idea of e3 was the same idea that I've showed a few moves ago. Just control every single square that the queen could come to, but in time pressure I missed that there's just a simple tactic. Queen e5, and bishop is attacked, rook is attacked, and here I get really desperate. I think I have, like, in my mind, 5 minutes. I actually had an hour and 5 minutes, but it was like at the point where the flag is starting to lift up, and that was really uncomfortable for me. I play bishop d7, the final tactic I managed to scrape up, and I missed my continuation. After queen takes a1, I should have played bishop takes, b takes, and now queen b3 check. Because after the king moves, I have bishop b2 hitting both rook and the queen is trapped. So this would be equal. Even though he's won 2 rooks, this would be more or less equal, and yeah, it will probably be a draw. It's really hard for black to make anything happen because you know, like all of this is blockaded up and gonna take this pawn, and the king is pretty unsafe. Ideas like if you play g4, maybe I can even play queen a4 immediately and hit both c6 and the bishop. So this was in my mind. Actually, it wasn't in my mind. It's in my mind now, but I missed this at the time. So what I play is bishop d2, and I missed that he has just a simple queen b2. Through desperation, I play queen takes c6, queen b7, queen d6 check, just trying to get any tactic I can. That's really what I'm going for at this point. You can tell it's all tricks at this point. Queen d5 with a discovered mate. If he takes the bishop, actually it's not even mate, so he can't take my bishop because the queen defends, but if he moves the queen anywhere off, like let's just say queen f6 for some reason, I have f7 mate. He plays rook here, which just wins immediately. Queen has to come back, he takes, check, desperate attempt, he defends. And after a few moves, he completely destroys me. I play this move just in case he takes my queen, which he definitely isn't because he's a pretty damn good player, and he plays just the simple queen g2 mate. So this was my game. This was my very first OTB game, and it was super disappointing to lose such a good position. And what I thought was like a masterpiece with the queen being misplaced and controlling the dark squares, just having that initiative there. So super frustrating, and I went home super disappointed, but yeah, that was that. And my next few games were a bit better in terms of quality. I still maintain like the same style of positional play. In the third round, so like I said, this was the second round. In the third round, I didn't play because I got disqualified. I actually missed the date because in my mind, every single game was going to be played at 7 p.m. But for some reason, the Saturday game, which was the third round, was being played at 2 p.m. And so I got disqualified from the tournament, and I had to wait until the next round. So yeah, I'm sorry guys, I didn't even mention what tournament this was. This was the Brasiliense, so I'm from Brazil, by the way. This was the Brasiliense Championship qualifier match, and there's going to be 3 rounds. So I've played the first round, I've played the second round, and I'm going to play the third round this month. So I'm going to be posting videos on the first and second round. This was the first round. Second round I'll post maybe next day. I'm not sure how I'm going to be posting the videos, but I'm going to try and post quite frequently. I'm not sure if every day is possible, but so yeah, third round I got disqualified, and then next video is going to be the first round of no, yeah, the first game of the second round of qualifier matches. So yeah guys, I hope you've enjoyed, and if this has helped you in any way, let me know. And yeah, see you guys. Bye.